Good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to this next episode of FPL Family with me, Lee, and this is Sam. What?
When you started, I was so confused as to where I was for a second. I think I just gave everyone an evil stare down the camera. I think if you watch it back, I literally give the whole everybody that's watching a death stare because I was just suddenly like, what am I doing? Where am I? Sorry, everyone.
Live stream, dear. This is the 8th year of FPL Family. We've been doing this pretty much most Sundays for the last 8 years.
Of like,
what are we doing?
What am I doing? Sorry, everyone.
Mad.
Oh, I'm sorry if I looked at you all like
well,
you had three
maybe
heads or something.
Maybe Sam, you are getting a bit lightheaded, like us Liverpool fans at the summit.
Yawn.
Oh,
do you clap near the mic?
The podcasters would have loved that clap. 9 points clear at the top of the league.
Right.
You've been saying for weeks that it's our league and that we're going to win it. I've been sitting here every week and saying, don't be ridiculous, it's too early.
Do you want to tell everyone what you said as Salah
Starting to believe.
When Salah had that ball and he put it down on the penalty spot, do you want to tell everyone what you said?
I said, when Salah was about to run up to a penalty, I said, if he scores this, I think we'll win the league. Starting to believe. Starting to believe.
I mean, I've been saying
it's
it for
way
weeks.
too early. It's December the 1st, for Christ's sake. It's, it's absolutely ridiculous. But we have to start, we got to dare to dream. We've got to dare to dream because City look absolutely dead and buried. I don't see them winning it now.
How can you?
Do you?
I'm so confused by Manchester City. Like, how do you go from being what they were doing in game week 1 to 5, smashing the... I know, Rodri, I get it. It's really a big loss. I understand that. But other teams have lost big players as well. And they found a way to make the rest of the players and the system work without them. But it seems like they've got no idea what to do.
They're getting bullied.
They've tried to put Rico Lewis there and it hasn't worked.
Bullied.
They've tried to put Gundogan there and it hasn't worked. They've tried to put Bernardo Silva there. It hasn't. They just stick people
That was mad
there.
today, by the way.
I know.
Gundogan, Bernardo Silva,
Rico Lewis, all of them.
No, who was the other one? They started a Foden in there, right?
Well, that's
not really. Any of those have got a nod to being defensive about things.
Absolutely not.
And you're like, oh, okay. As soon as I saw them three in midfield, I just thought, well, Gravenberch's going to eat that up. Macca's going to eat that up. And so it proved. I didn't think that, and we'll talk about the game in a bit, right? But I didn't think that City learnt from the Spurs game, right? They kind of reeled out the same sort of system as the Spurs game, and you absolutely put them to the sword. And I'm like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, great. Can't wait for this game now. I'm buzzing. And for the first 20, 25 minutes, guys, first half hour or so, we were unbelievably good. Unbelievably good. And I'll sit here and I'll talk, oh yeah, well, we're doing this and we're doing that, and I'm a bit sort of down, not down about it, but I'll just sort of be realistic. We were bloody brilliant for half an hour. And then City kind of come back into it a little bit. But the way that we managed the game, the way that Slot managed the game, absolutely fantastic, guys, honestly. And could have been more. Leighton and Justine are saying Van Dijk hat-trick. Yeah, Van Dijk could have had a hat-trick, no doubt about it. Salah ends up with only 2 bonus points because he missed 2. One really big chance in the second half, which you'd have a house on him scoring, and then his couple more shots off target in that game. So I can see why for the second game running he's only got 2 bonus points, but he kept his shirt on, which was good. So yeah, guys, I'm in an absolutely amazing mood at the minute with my team. Honestly, we're playing so well, and people are saying the title's over, and I'm starting to believe. But Arsenal, another very, very good performance. They are, whatever malaise they had over the last few weeks, they've shaken that off, haven't they? Last 3 or 4 games.
Well, they had
just absolutely brilliant.
I mean, I guess in similar fashion, they had a bit of an injury problem, didn't they? They were without their captain. They didn't have
Odegaard.
What's wrong with me? My brain.
You're all right tonight.
I don't know. My brain's just completely gone. They did have Odegaard. You're quite right.
You're also hiding in the corner of the screen again. Look, have you noticed?
I always sit in the same. I can't see the screen because your mic is in the way.
Well, if I move my mic, look, see?
But I always sit in the same spot, so I don't know. I mean, I can move the camera.
That's fine. No, don't move.
I get a backache if you make me sit like this the whole stream and no back support.
It's fine. No. Oh, don't move. Oh God, don't move the camera, please.
There we go. Look.
Please, that's made all the difference.
Yes, there you go.
Yes,
they were without Odegaard. He's come back now, and they're performing better. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from that Arsenal performance, particularly in the first half an hour.
God, sensational.
But yes, absolutely. But West Ham,
Yeah.
turn up.
Yeah, not great.
Come on.
Not great.
What are you doing?
Not great. As usual, guys, we'll talk about all the games in a bit more detail than we just have.
If I can think.
If you can think about what's happened. But tons of goals. Loads and loads of goals.
And loads of penalties.
Lots of penalties. A couple of red cards as well. One particularly bad one in your game today. I thought that was absolutely was a red from Tom Kearney. Lots of goals. And don't take too much of a breather, guys. Don't take a breather, because Tuesday is game week 14's deadline.
Yeah, deep breath, we go again.
So just get game week 13 out your system, or just love it if you've had a good game week for literally a day and a bit. And then Tuesday, we're going to go again with game week 14. And then next weekend, we've got game week 15. So they are coming thick and fast now. We said this, didn't we? Was it last week or the week before? You know, there was a little bit of an international break, calm before the storm. And we are, we've taken the first step into the storm. Tuesday's going to come around, next weekend's going to come around. So, yeah, have your wits about you from an FPL perspective. This is the time of year when the engaged managers, in my opinion, take those couple of steps forward above those that are not engaged. Because there's a big bunch of people that are playing the game that won't even know about Tuesday's deadline, right?
Yeah, well, in the past, I think that's true. I don't think that's true anymore, because
the game does make it easier, yeah.
I mean, they're going to ping everybody and tell them that it's the deadline in 2 hours, so...
Yeah, you get a notification now. You get a push notification,
unless you're
don't you?
asleep, like on the other side of the world,
Possible.
which, for some managers they will be,
Yeah.
that's going to be a challenge. But for most managers, you can get a ping, so...
Yeah, all right. Well, listen, let's say hello to a few people in the chat. Matthew Knight, how are we doing, mate? Thank you for the super chat. How does Lopetegui still have a job?
I don't know!
Very odd week. He's looked bereft, didn't he, up in the stands during that game? And well, he might, because Arsenal were excellent, but West Ham, as you rightly say, tragic. Absolutely tragic.
Come on.
Joseph Maloney, thank you, Joseph, for the super chat. Hey, Samily, what a big statement today from the Reds. Yes, mate. So many drop points this game week, but Saka is top of the shopping list. You'll never walk alone. Yeah, big statement from Liverpool this week. I think I sat here last week and said we've got a big week coming up. And if you'd have said to me, you're going to beat Real Madrid 2-0 and beat City 2-0, blimey, I'd absolutely bite your hand off. Having said that...
Have I said that?
We now have another big week this week, right? The Newcastle away is a horrible game. Horrible midweek game.
I'm sorry, but West Ham can win there.
No, but it's you're seeing it through the wrong lens. It's a difficult game. It's a travel to Newcastle. At least we haven't got to travel outside of Liverpool next weekend, because it's a Merseyside derby, which is a horrible game in itself.
When do you play? Do you play Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah. Well, we played today, so it must be Wednesday.
Yeah, because you're the early kick Saturday, aren't you?
We are. Merseyside derby is the 12:30 Saturday, yeah.
Which is
horrible.
Yeah, well, it's because it has to be, doesn't it? Because of the rivalry stuff and the drinking and all of that jazz. That's why they make it early, the policing situation. Interesting.
Yeah, but
I think
no,
we'll win both of those games comfortably.
Newcastle, I'm not sure Newcastle is
going to be
comfortable.
fit?
I don't know. Well, we'll discuss it, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't look like it, maybe. No. But I don't know. Going away to Newcastle midweek, I don't like that at all, to be honest. That's a horrible little banana skin game. And then even Everton at the weekend, the way they're playing, I think we'll back us. Obviously, I back us. I back us against Newcastle. Back us against anyone right now. But horrible game that in the week for Liverpool away at Newcastle, with that travel included. But you are right, Joseph. And Saka is top of Joseph's shopping list. And then we can see why. We can see why. We'll talk about them. Maybe we'll kick off with them in just a second. Phil B is in. Nice to see you, Phil. George is here. Hey, George. Nice to see you, mate.
George was getting in a lot of trouble in the Slack this weekend.
Why? What's he doing?
I don't know. Everyone was unhappy with George. Everything that went wrong was George's fault. I couldn't quite work out what he'd done that made every player that blanked George's fault.
Okay.
But everything that went wrong for anyone,
it was
George's fault.
He was the brunt of it, was he?
I turned up there yesterday and he went, Sam, can you tell everyone it's not all my fault? I was like...
Some big swings over the last couple of weeks in FPL, and maybe there's maybe a bit of FPL emotion flying around. That's all I'm saying.
I think George was trying to persuade people. I can't remember, something about captaincy on Friday night. I can't remember what it was now, but it was funny.
Who knows? Tracy Holt is here. Sam, very nice to see you, Tracy. Very
Tracy.
Nice to see you here in a live stream. Lalex is here. Adam Stevo is here. Andrew Yee is here. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you. We've got Ishak Bowdy is here. Hello, Sam and Andy from Algeria. My name's Lee, but yes, nice to see you, Ishak. Nice to see you.
What?
This is hello, Sam and Andy from Algeria.
What? Don't confuse me. I'm already confused tonight.
Speaking of Andy, we beat him in Sleeper this week.
We finally won a Sleeper game.
We bloody won a Sleeper Draft of Legends.
Lee.
Yes!
Also,
Come on, the sleeper.
did you notice how I was properly... So this week I was like, right, whatever happens, you'll actually... There's a video. I've been recording a video of me doing the sleeper week this week. I'm going to put it out tomorrow. I've been so like, right. And then on Friday night, I see Cameron Archer starting and I'm like, should I get Cameron?
This is what it's come to.
I get Cameron Archer.
Cameron Archer.
So I get Cameron Archer, right? And I bring him in on sleeper. And I'm out with the pod lot on Friday night. And I'm sat there. And then my phone pings Southampton goal. And I'm like, oh my God, is it Cameron Archer? And then it was. And then they flipping took it away. I was raging. I thought it was going to give us an advantage.
I thought it was a terrible decision as well, by the way. I didn't think Armstrong was interfering there at all. But
we have finally won. For the first time, we've taken 3 losses on the bounce.
Yeah.
But now, big W.
Yeah, and you know what? Who the star of the show was again? Bloody Buonanotte getting another goal, didn't he?
And Bren today.
And Brennan again. Yeah, we need Son to do something, don't we? But would be nice if
it would be nice. Well, I benched Trent, didn't I?
Draft of Legends is not going too badly. It's not going too badly. Henning is here. Hello, he says. Hello, Henning. Matthew Knights is here. George was very vocal on captaincy, he says, in the Slack. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Sean is here. Nice to see you, Sean. Webby is here. All the usual names are in. GG Game is here. Hello, Samily. Hello, GG. Nice to see you. So, a whole host of you in, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight on FPL Family. Sam, where would you like to start? I think we've touched on Arsenal quite a bit there in the kind of preamble. And what a bonkers game it was, including 4 goals in about 6 or 7 minutes, wasn't it? Absolutely crazy game. Arsenal fully deserved the victory, and after 7 goals in the first half, you can be forgiven. And there was some mad stat knocking about Twitter about the fact that on the other 3 or 4 occasions that there has been 7 goals in the Premier League in the first half of games, because it obviously very rarely happens, but when that does happen, there has been like very, very, very few, if any, goals in second halves, because, I don't know, the team that's getting battered doesn't want to get battered anymore, and in this case,
the other team just allows it.
Arsenal are like, we've got another important game coming up, so we're just going to see this out, including taking Gabriel off at half-time, which, given that he got a goal and assist, I was sort of okay with that. But you're right, they were smart about it, because he did get a bit of a whack, didn't he, from Fabianski on one of the corners, which led to the Saka penalty.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of, is it a concussion? And had they used a concussion sub to bring him off...
It's an auto, I think, I'm right in saying it's an auto 10-day incubation period.
That was my understanding. And then he wouldn't be available then for the next couple of games, actually, for Arsenal. But Arteta was quite smart about it. He bought him off as just a normal sub, like a non-concussion sub.
Yes.
So, okay, he comes off after 45 minutes. So that's bad for us as FPL owners. But we take the 9 points, and we think absolutely he's going to be available, we think, unless there's some underlying injury there, for the next game coming up at the weekend. So, what did you make of the game? Saka, obviously, at the heart of everything, as you'd expect. Ødegaard, also at the heart of everything. Gabriel, a goal and assist, but no bonus points. So it just shows you how much clean sheets matter, or how much the -4 underlying bonus point system points, if you want to call it that, the BPS system, hates defenders that concede goals. So Gabriel giving 2 away here means that despite a goal and assist, no bonus points, right?
I'm glad, because I don't have him, so... I don't want any bonus points. Plus, he only played 45 minutes, so he's not getting the additional points for getting over 60 and all of that jazz. I hated every minute of this game, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I hated it.
You had the 2 wrong assets, didn't you, basically?
Because for those of you that listen to me a lot, I spent a lot of time last week talking about how I thought that Saka was the best captaincy option for this week. If I had Saka, I'd have captained him this week. But I didn't have an obvious route to him, because I had Bruno Fernandes, who I didn't want to sell again ahead of the game at home against Everton. And I had Mbomo, who I didn't want to sell ahead of a game at home to Leicester. Yeah. Because I thought both of those games would be high scoring, and I thought both of those players would be involved in the goals. So in my head, I was like, well, can't really get rid of either of them yet. Let's give myself 1 more week to think about it. I know that Saka might go off. It's West Ham. All 3 of them have got nice fixtures. What I'll do is I'll double up on the Arsenal defence, because West Ham are poor. So if I double up on the West Ham defence...
You got Julian Timber in, didn't you, to go alongside Raya?
I did, yeah. And I did that for 2 reasons. So ideally, Gabriel would be the obvious choice. But he was flagged, and there was very non-committal comments from Arteta standard in the presses about him.
Yeah, I was never really that concerned that he wasn't going to play.
But it was more for me about it was the budget factor for me more than anything, because it's 0.7 difference between those two. Because Timber obviously comes in at 5.5, and in the absence of Ben White and in the way that Timber's been playing, and the fact that actually over the last 3 weeks Timber's attacking numbers have been better than Gabriel's, I was like, well, if I go for Timber, that's going to allow me to have, almost without compromise, every player I want to have across the rest of my team.
Okay.
If I go Gabriel, that's not achievable. I have to make a compromise elsewhere. And so for me, that was the reason for making that decision. Now, I was sort of okay with the Arsenal riot-ish until that first West Ham goal went in. And then I was just like, well, I'm dead now. Because Raya's getting nothing, because he's just, unless he saves a penalty, you're only ever getting 2 or 6, really.
And what a free kick by Emerson as well, right?
It was
and
a
then
great
the two goes in, and they're both down a point as well.
Yeah. And Timber, you know, he's got... And actually, there were a couple of moments in that game where he could have got an attacking return. There was one in particular that he fed... can't think who it was now. It wasn't Saka, it was somebody else. Maybe it was Havertz.
Okay.
And it could have maybe ended up with something there, but it just wasn't to be. But so as an owner of 2 Arsenal assets...
defensive assets.
In this game, it was really frustrating because West Ham, apart from a lovely, lovely free kick, and we shouldn't take anything away from that free kick, it was lovely. It was difficult, and my plan was always to have Saka for this week. It was just a question of how and who.
So what's your plan now going forward with Saka? Because I'm looking at him thinking, I think he's an absolute must-have.
He is must-have.
And you look at the fixtures going forward. They're top of the ticker between now and the end of the year, according to the Fantasy Football Scout fixture ticker.
Yep.
United up next. Now, we'll talk about United, and I know they've battered Everton today. Well done. Congrats.
Everyone batters Everton, though.
Get your first win at Old Trafford, Amorim, so fair play. But from the bits that I saw, and I only did see bits of that game, I need to watch it a bit more forensically. Oh, man, Everton were bad. I think Everton were bad. And I do think Arsenal at home, if Man United go there with even a little semblance of confidence and go at them a little bit, Arsenal just pick them off, I think.
Well, my intention was always to use one of my transfers this week to get Saka. That was never a doubt. That was always happening. Yeah. And that would allow me to be trebled up on Arsenal for this nice run of fixtures that they have coming up, which was always the plan. And I will be doing that this week.
Who's the sacrificial lamb?
Well, so the question then we go back to the Bruno versus Mbomo thing. And on performance and points this week, Mbomo is the obvious sell. There's 2 caveats I would make to that. One is that Brentford's fixtures are about to swing, but they've got Aston Villa next, who can't defend to save their lives.
Yeah, Brentford's second bottom, I've got them on my ticker, with Villa away. You're right, not a blue fixture on the ticker, but it's kind of looking like it might be. Although it is Brentford away, we know how good they are at home, right? Yeah. Newcastle at home in 15, which I really like that next weekend game. Chelsea, Forest, Brighton, Arsenal. It is difficult for them. You're right on the Mbeumo thing, though. He's had like 1 shot over the last... the stats are really... There's not
but
like
his position has changed.
Yeah, but it's not like his stats have just dropped a little. They've fallen off a cliff, haven't they, for the last 3 or 4 weeks?
Because they've changed where he's playing on the pitch. So he's playing in a different position. And with Thiago there as well, that's going to affect Worcester too, as he starts to get more game time. So I think it's the right time to jump off Mbomo.
He's so wide, Mbomo, isn't he? We watched the highlights together on Match of the Day, and every time there was a highlight of Brentford going forward, he's not even like narrowing the pitch to come in. He's staying wide, and he's letting Visser and the Danish guy, Damsgaard's joining the attack. And I love him, Damsgaard, by the way. I think he's a top player. So he's doing the damage centrally. Visser's coming in, alongside Damsgaard. You've got whoever it is on the left. I think it was Sharda, wasn't it? Who was getting involved at the weekend. Who scored tons of goals. And then Mbeumo is just not getting involved in those dangerous areas. Yeah. He's keeping the width and stretching the pitch.
Yeah, and so important to the way that Brentford are playing and enabling everything else to work. But from an FPL perspective, not the same player that we were seeing in the earlier weeks of the season. And I think it's almost a similar lesson to Haaland, right? You have to look at it and go, all right, well, the numbers have dropped. Now, it's slightly less difficult than Haaland because Haaland's obviously so expensive that when you make those changes, you are you're doing it for other factors. Whereas I think with Mboma, you kind of are happier to hold because at the price point that he is, he's not really affecting anything else. But at the moment, the big gaping hole in my team is Saka. And
Got to have him, I think.
and I totally agree. I totally agree. He'll come in this week.
What do you think to those players that have got, and we've got to move on from this game, so much to discuss this week, but what do you think of those that have got the 3 Arsenal defence? I just think locking yourself out of Saka is just a bad shout, isn't it?
I do.
Yeah, I think
I do. I think
so good.
I think trebling up on Arsenal, yes, absolutely. But I think you got to have Saka, and I think if you don't have Saka, look, you can try and cover it with a Havertz or with an Odegaard. You can try.
What do you think
and
about?
They'll get points.
Go on then.
But I don't think they will ever be as consistent or as high ranking, particularly in things like the bonus point system, as Saka is. And we saw it at the weekend. Saka shares the penalties again. He doesn't always take them, but that seems to be a bit of a thing at Arsenal, and it's not something that puts me off owning Saka. You've been saying for weeks that this season is all about reducing your risks to fear.
Yeah. Minimise the routes to pain is
And
my motto so far this season. That's a shit motto, but it is my motto.
It's fair though, because I think,
I haven't looked back since I got Palmer, Saka and Salah in my team.
No,
it's just
and to be fair, I haven't since I did the Bruno thing. Bruno's got me a couple of nice hauls since I've had him. I can have them 3 and I can add Saka to the mix as well now because of the way that the rest of my team is structured. So I'm happy to do that. There was one little caveat that comes with this, that is Bruno has ice on his ankle at the end of the game. I would like to understand a little bit more about that.
I did see that picture, yeah.
I don't think it's a massive issue, but I want to have a little look at it. And also I want to understand just a little bit more about this Dominic Solanke illness that kept him out of today, because I was a bit raging about that.
Yeah, we'll discuss that
I'm
in just
assuming
a
that
sec,
it's just a small virus and he'll be fit enough to go and play his old team on Thursday night, because the trouble is that I want to sell Mboma for Saka. That's what I want to do. But if Bruno Fernandes is injured, then I'll go Bruno instead. You see, it's just one of those things, isn't it, about working out where you've got to deal with things.
I must admit, I thought Arsenal were unreal.
Well,
I thought they were unreal, and I want to be trebled up on them, and that's why.
Who have you got? Gabriel and Saka.
Gabriel and Saka. So I had the right
You've got
two.
the right two.
I got the right 2, and I still think those are the right 2 to have.
So how would you treble?
I like the areas that Odegaard's getting into. And if I look at my team, I'm like you. I don't particularly like Mbeumo either. And I think it's only a matter of time before everyone's got Saka, right? He's been a reasonable, I wouldn't call it a differential, but every time he's getting points at the weekend, my rank took a lump out of it, and I liked it. So I don't know if I want to go double up at the back. I think I'm happy with just Gabriel. I'd like to go up top. And with Jesus and the Havertz thing, I'm not 100% sure going there. I just think Trossard's a bit in and out of the team, isn't he? So, yeah, I just think Odegaard,
The captain.
I just think he just makes such a difference in there, and he's. I don't think he's too far away from getting a haul somewhere along the line. And we'll talk about it a bit later on in terms of Mbeumo replacements, if you are thinking about replacing Mbeumo. And looking down the list, I did it. I just sort of got my phone out and like, right, if I take him out, who can I afford? And there's, I can't afford like the big hitters from sort of Foden upwards, but then you don't really want Foden right now, or De Bruyne right now. So I'm looking, so I can basically have whoever I want, really, because I've got Saka, Palmer, Salah already, and I don't really want De Bruyne or Foden. And I don't want Bruno Fernandes either, because he's got 2 very difficult fixtures either side of a decent game week 14. So then I was looking at it, and I'm looking down the list, and I'm like, maybe Odegaard is the answer. Maybe yes, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Odegaard is definitely nice. And, I mean, there are other players that you could go to. And
Well, I regret selling Brennan a couple of weeks ago, don't I?
Well, that was what I was going to say. Maybe we go to Spurs in a minute, because Brennan continues. I mean, he scores today, and I'm just like, again? And I was there on Thursday night, and he scored, and I went, again? And it's just constant.
Just before we move on from this game, though, West Ham, there are some that are looking at Bowen,
but I think
potentially.
you have to, right. It's really, really hard, this, because the fixtures scream invest.
What, for West Ham?
Yeah, they do.
I haven't looked into them with that much detail. Leicester, Wolves, Bournemouth, Brighton, Southampton. Yeah, they do, to be fair.
They scream invest.
Yeah, they do, to be fair.
So you look at them and you're like, okay, this is
Leicester
prime.
away in Rude's first game, though. Nah, not having it.
Well, the new manager thing might make a difference, but it but it
You're
does
right,
scream.
some
No,
water.
it's all right. But it does scream invest. I've obviously got Fabianski as my spare goalkeeper. I do quite like the Bowen thing, because I do kind of think that if West Ham do anything, I would expect Jarrod Bowen to be part of it. But I just don't think you can go there, given like we've got players in and around that price point that are regularly performing and are performing in teams that are performing so much better than how West Ham are performing right now.
Yeah, true enough. All right, true enough. So not a lot
Sorry,
of love
Hammers
then
fans.
for Hammers. I didn't think they were very good at all at the weekend. And Lopetegui is, as some of you have suggested, on thin ice. Let's talk about Spurs then. I do regret selling Brennan Johnson a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I feel like he scores the same goal every week. This kind of like ghosting in at the back goal. I feel like it happens all the time. But nevertheless, Spurs without Kulusevski, without Solanke in this game, both for different reasons, I think.
Yeah.
Those are your two, what I call workhorses, right? They
Yes.
are the ones, and we've seen it before that when Solanke's not there, he's the trigger for the press. He presses so amazingly well. Kulusevski, I've said it, week in, week out. I think he's your best player by a country mile this season. He's one of the best in the league, actually, in terms of the season he's having.
Kulu for the Ballon d'Or.
So when I didn't see them two on the starting 11 list, I was like, ooh, they're going to miss something here, Spurs, today. And so it proved, right? A little bit inconsistent sort of Spurs coming out again today, no? Or what did you make of it from the game? Because you went.
I went. Yeah, I went. I must admit, I was sitting in the stand and I saw the team sheet and I was like, what the hell? Where's Solanke? And then I looked for the bet and I was like, okay, well, they're going to be benched then, surely. Why would you bench? And I was going, in my head, I was like, why would you bench them both on the same day? It doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, it transpires that Solanke's got this virus. Wasn't well last night. Kulu's was a pre-planned benching for today. This was his rest game. And obviously we've seen that for other players already. Brennan against Man City last week. Kulu scheduled for today. We played okay. In the first half, we missed Kulusevski's creativity. I think we missed Solanke's press more. We missed his harrying around, annoying everybody, because their defence was not solid in that first half.
Right.
They were gettable at in the first half. And I kind of feel like had Solanke been up there over Son, we'd have got somewhere.
Who played in the night? Son today?
Son. So he had Werner out, well, until Kulu came on. So he had Werner out in Son's position on the left. He had Bren on the right. He had Maddison in the 10. And then he had Son in the 9. And then around 65 minutes, he brought Werner off. Werner actually was okay today. He put Son out
nice
wide.
Assist, I thought, from what I saw.
It was a nice assist. He put Son out wide and then he put Kulu in the false 9, which is where Kulu had played in pre-season. So when he put him there, I was like, okay, well, we know he's good there. And he was good there, to be fair. And towards the back end of the game, we had opportunities to score goals. I just felt like we were more creative when Kulu came on, for sure. The part of the problem is that they then quickly had Tom Kearney sent off, which the ref doesn't send him off originally.
Yeah.
And
VAR done well.
We are raging in the stands. And then VAR does well and they send him off. And actually, one thing I will say, and I don't normally say positive things about VAR, but I've spent a lot of time at Spurs over the last few weeks. And I love the new VAR thing where they tell you it's happening. Afterwards, they show it again and they have a statement that comes up and explains what has happened to the fans. It's so much better because you can actually understand the process. But when he goes off, we were all furious because they call all the Fulham players over and they'll go for a team talk. And we were all just like, can we carry on? And the goalkeeper just goes down and pretends to be injured so they can do this and they can reschedule. Now, to be fair, it's good management from Fulham's perspective, but we were not happy about it. They, defensively, they were just hard to break down because they just went all out defence, secure the point, right? Fair play to them. That's all they could do. But I can't help but feel on a different day it's not the outcome. If Kulu and Solanke start that game, I don't think that this is what happens. And I think going into the midweek fixture against Bournemouth, obviously Solanke's going to want to play against Bournemouth. That's where he came to us from. Kulu's going to 100% get the start. If Solanke's not there, I suspect it's Kulu in the 9.
Difficult games coming up for Spurs. Going away to the Vitality in midweek ain't going to be easy at all. Chelsea at Spurs at the Spurs Stadium in 15, which has got, that's got big game written all over it, to be fair. That was the game where it all fell apart, wasn't it? Yeah. I remember. I remember. And Chelsea in fine form at the moment. Southampton away in 16, and then Liverpool coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in 17. So, and before a trip to Forest. So there's a few people in the chat asking, who would you sell Solanke for? So not even should you sell Solanke. There's a who would you sell him for? So what do you think? Is he a sell? You've got him. You're going to hold him through these difficult fixtures?
My plan wasn't to, no, because like you, I think if you're going to be invested in Spurs, I do think it's Brennan who's the right one to own. I still think I'm on the wrong Spurs asset. And of the Spurs assets, I'm on the more expensive one as well. So it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So my thoughts are to go one of two ways here. I can afford just to go from Mbomo to Saka and also to go from Solanke to Nico Jackson.
Okay.
And double up on the Chelsea attack, which, given that they're going to go and play a Southampton side without Downs, because he's now suspended, and without Dibbling, because he's now suspended.
They got some issues.
I'm not sure who they're going to play at the weekend in midweek Southampton. So that is possible, because Nico Jackson continues to just regularly turn over those points.
He's been great, Jackson.
He's been great, and I think you can double up on Chelsea
There's
there.
another one of those, and there's been a few this season that I've been guilty of just ignoring for too long. He's definitely one of them.
He's definitely one.
Because he's keeping Nkunku out that team, who I think is a top player, Nkunku. And maybe we'll do Chelsea in a minute, but I thought they were great again today. And Jackson again, really leading the line very nicely.
So I think you can go for Jackson. I think
just remember he's on those 4 yellows.
He is on 4 yellows, so you do need to be aware of that. I'm hoping he picks it up in midweek because then he missed the Spurs game on the weekend. That'd be lovely. No, I mean I am actually hoping.
But then you get rested Nkunku come and play against you. Don't really want that either, do you?
Well, not really. No, I mean I hope they all catch the flu or something. To be honest, he has to play the under-21s. I think there are other options. Look, Cunha blanks, but on another week it's maybe different. João Pedro blanks, but I don't really know what happened to João Pedro on Friday night. It was weird. But you could go cheap if you wanted to.
So you think hold Solanke though, right?
I don't think Solanke. Oh, look, Solanke misses out because he's ill. I don't think he's a terrible pick. I probably am going to sell him. I just don't know when that's going to be. Because ideally, I think I do want to go to Nico Jackson. And I think I do want to do it before this Southampton game.
Yeah, I think I think if you've got the luxury of, 2, 3, maybe even 4, 5 transfers, then yeah, I move to Jackson or to Visser, I think looks good. But
I don't know if I'll go Visser.
Okay, but a move to someone would look good. All right, let me just say Jackson then. But it feels a bit luxury, doesn't it? I mean, if that's the biggest problem in your team, then you're probably doing all right. Getting Saka in has got to be a priority. Getting Palmer in for the Southampton game feels like a priority to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I wouldn't, like, if my team was in such a position where I had to hold Solanke because I didn't have enough transfers, I'd be like, okay,
yeah,
it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I would be a bit disappointed with him missing out this week. I do agree.
It was very frustrating, I think, today.
Yeah, all right. Let's talk Chelsea then, because we've just touched on the fact that Southampton are going to have some issues, let's say, with suspensions and players missing. Where is the Chelsea game? There it is.
You're going to have to lead this one because I watched none of it. It was on at the same time as Spurs.
Okay, yeah, so I did watch most of this game. I thought Chelsea were bang on it, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? And it's unusual for me to sit here and laud Chelsea because I haven't for the best part of 8 years of FPL family. But here I am just admiring the way that they've gone about their business again. I think Maresca has got them really, really well drilled. Jackson's leading the line well. The Palmer goal is unreal, right? And if you've got Palmer as your captain this week, well done, because he's got the points and you've done well there. Wouldn't say it was a low XG goal, is the first thing to say. It is a worldy goal.
Okay.
How involved was he? Yes, he gets the assist as well for the Enzo goal. It's a nice goal. It's a good finish. And maybe even Enzo might even be... You want to look at Enzo Fernandez at 4.8? Don't hate it. Don't hate it.
Instead of Morgan Rogers, maybe.
Because he looks like a player redefined under Maresca, right? The way that he's playing. But all in all, I do think they're looking good. The one there, and one of the... defensively, I've not really liked the look of them until fairly recently, but I don't mind if you want to. Like, I've got Rico Lewis in my team. I just don't want any Man City at the minute, do I? So Rico Lewis being sold for someone like a Colwell might do it.
Did Fofana go off injured?
I think he might have done. Yeah, I think he might have done. I've got to have a look at that. But Anyway, Palmer gets the free bonus points because even though he doesn't do tons in the game, what he does do is of high quality. Unlike Salah a little bit, where I know Salah's getting man of the match and he's kind of winning the game and Sky giving him, the award at the end and all the rest of it, but he's having shots off target, he's missing big chances and stuff. Last couple of weeks he's done a couple of those, hasn't he? Whereas what Palmer's doing is good. So, yeah, listen, if you want to pile on to Chelsea, I am not against it at all. I think they're banging form. I'd have them, I would say, favourites to be in that top 4 come the end of the season. And look at these fixtures. Southampton away, Spurs away. Okay, well, the trip to Spurs is, of course, difficult on 15. But then Brentford, Everton, Fulham and Ipswich. Here's the reason why I think you've got to have Palmer and why I feel a little bit underinvested just having one of them. And I can see why people are going to Jackson. I really can.
The only thing that puts me off, and there's 2. There's one, it would be selling my only Spurs player. But 2 is the 4 yellow cards. But the thing is, we've been saying that Jackson's on 4 yellow cards for weeks now.
Yeah.
And we have this with players, don't we? That only prevents you getting one. I remember, who was it last year? One of the Man City players. And none of us got them because they were sitting on like 9 yellow cards for the whole of the end of the season. And none of us went there on that basis. And I think you just have to be... You have to be mindful of it. And if you've not long wildcarded and your squad's okay and you can cover it, then I think it's worth the risk, to be honest. Because particularly with this game against Southampton... I genuinely don't know. Flynn Downs is so important to them. Without him and without Dibbling and what he's been doing, I don't know how they are going to...
Because the good thing about Dibbling is he receives the ball and he carries. So he takes the pressure off the defence, often gets fouled.
It's going to keep coming back.
And without him, it's like just keeps coming back.
And the defence is going to be weakened. I just think the whole thing looks like...
Maybe Southampton played a big lad, like the youngster up front. Forget the guy's name, but he played against us and played incredibly well actually last week. And he held the ball up, took the pressure off the defence and stopped it coming back all the time. Maybe they do that against Chelsea. I don't know.
Maybe.
From an Aston Villa perspective, though, Ollie Watkins, I noticed in the Fantasy Football Scout members area, top for XG underachievers this week with a delta of 0.67. So no goals for Ollie, but an XG of 0.67.
So the guys in the Slack say he missed a very big chance.
He did miss a big chance. He did. Yeah, no doubt about it.
You've got him still, right?
Yeah, I have.
What?
Well, I knew you were going to ask me this question.
Well,
yeah.
Well, because you doubled up still, no?
I got him and Rodgers, yeah.
And...
Well...
Because I don't know that I wouldn't be prioritising getting rid of one of them over Mbomo.
But you can't, right? Here's why I sat through that terrible performance from Watkins and others at Aston Villa today, because the next 2 for Villa are Brentford at home and Southampton at home. Now in 16, yes, absolutely, with Forest away, City and then Newcastle, I will be looking to sell Watkins, I think. But Brentford at home, Southampton at home, I can't sell them, can I? How can I sell Watkins before that? You just can't. You just can't. I've made my bed. I stuck with him last week and he got 7 points. So he did get the goal. Good. He's had a big chance and massively underachieved his XG here. I've got to, haven't I? The only one I was going to go to maybe, and I sat here last week and said, what shall I do? Do I stick with him or go Isak? Well, I don't think I'm going to go Isak now.
Nico Jackson?
Yeah, but it's changing every week, isn't it? So last week I wanted Isak. This week I want Jackson. Well, why don't I just be patient and go Ollie Watkins for the next 2 as a differential as well, because everyone's going to be getting Jackson and Isak and others, and everyone's going to be lumping on Cunha and João Pedro and all that. Watkins is going to sit there, and I've got him for 2 plum home games. Now, if he blanks in both of them, I'll get rid of him, and I'll buy Jackson or something, right? Because from then, Jackson's going to have Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, so you get those 2 away games out the way for Chelsea. I know that Southampton's a nice one, Spurs is not quite so nice. So if Watkins lets me down, or even if he performs well, actually, I still could move to Jackson in 16. But for now, them 2, I have to keep him. I have to keep him.
But both of them.
Well, yeah, Rodgers out would be such a luxury sideways move. I mean, yes, of course.
You can't go Rodgers to Odegaard. I assume you've got no budget for that.
No, I haven't got enough for that.
Yeah,
I haven't got enough for that.
Fair enough.
So Rodgers can just stay. Rodgers and Watkins can just stay for the next 2, despite me not liking the look of what Aston Villa served up here at all. I didn't like it at all. Props to Chelsea, but they didn't look good at all, Aston Villa. Let's talk about what we've just witnessed. Liverpool 2, Manchester City 0. I have so many thoughts on this game, Sam, and I've said most of them at the beginning of the pod, but go on, you go first. What did you make of it?
Well, let's start with the team sheet, shall we? For Man City.
Go on.
Because that shocked me, for a start. No Edison, no Gavardiol, no Kevin De Bruyne. All on the bench. Okay. And I remember, at the point the team sheet came out, I was still at Spurs, and I was like, what? Didn't think too much of it until we were walking back to the car, and I was like, that's a really random team sheet, because you'd want your most creative players on the pitch, and the players that you've put out, one, I was like, who's playing in the Rodri position? Like, who's going to command and help support that defence, which is now, I think, weaker because Gavardiol's not there. You're playing Kyle Walker, who hasn't really got the legs anymore. Where's Rico Lewis? It was a mess from the moment it started. And if I'm Liverpool, honestly, I'm looking at that team sheet and I'm like, all right, off we go then.
Yeah,
and Liverpool came out like we were listening to it driving home from Spurs, and it was like, it was just listening to Liverpool constantly, all the way until, and then there was the goal. I don't know, like, I think, and then even watching the second half, by the time I got home from Spurs, there was nothing that troubled me about not owning a Man City player in FPL.
No.
And that is something that I have not said about an FPL team for I can't remember the last time I've sat here and said, I don't own any Man City players and I don't feel uncomfortable about it.
Yeah. Well, no, absolutely. They were well off it. They were well off it, and I don't think we need to discuss any more on City. I'm not touching them. Absolutely not touching them. And Haaland, I think.
So Rico Lewis to who?
Well, frankly, anyone at the moment, anyone, because he's not playing well defensively. He's certainly not a central midfielder, and he's getting bullied. And it's I don't like to see it because he's a young player and he's very, very talented. But teams have figured out that if you stick it on him, and there was a few today where Liverpool, like Van Dijk pushed up on one or two occasions and got close to him and won the ball off him, nicked it from behind, and just pushed him over as well. Just give him a nudge. You know, not enough for a foul. Not enough for a foul. Just push him over. Yeah. And McAllister did a couple, you know, when Rico Lewis got the ball back to McAllister and he just laid it off back to, I don't know, one of the centre halves. McAllister, just push him over. Yeah, just give him a little nudge. It just bullied him. And teams are doing it every week. And so we figured that out. And the other thing we figured out was, like, we got in and around Gundogan like you wouldn't believe. The like Arne Slot. I'm running out of good things to say about this guy, honestly. And none of us, no Liverpool fan, could have dreamed of being where we are, right? At all. But I, in the build-up to the game, was thinking, is he going to play Jones or is he going to play Szoboszlai? I thought with if he goes with Gundogan in the middle, which he's probably going to, I'd want the engine room of a Dominic Szoboszlai. I'd want the just constant running and harassing. And it's not like Curtis Jones can put a foot in, but you just want to keep putting Gundogan under pressure the whole time. And Slot looked at it and was like, yeah, of course, Dom Szoboszlai. And part of the reason why Dom Szoboszlai didn't play a lot of game time against Southampton was because...
You don't need an engine room there.
Slot's looking at the City game going, I need you to press the fuck out of Gundogan. And that's exactly what he done.
Yeah, but also
and it was brilliant.
You had a nice fixture previous that you didn't need him to be doing that against Southampton, so you can give him that time.
But games are being lost for City in that middle of the park. Week in, week out, and we were fantastic. The press from the front three was so good. Just Mo is just inevitable. He's just inevitable. If you haven't got him yet,
where's the contract, Lee? Where's his contract? Go up there yourself, write it for him, and hand it to him.
I'm gonna do like a little mini voice note podcast about this in the week because people keep saying about, and Carragher was talking about this after the game, and I totally agree with him. People keep saying, just give him the money, just pay them. That's not Liverpool. We don't do that. We're not a Chelsea or a City or a PSG or a Real Madrid. We don't just pay the money. We don't. We've built the whole club on not just paying the money. So I think that we should give him whatever he wants. Of course, I'm a Liverpool fan. He's unbelievable.
Whatever you want.
He's 32 years old and he's ripped to shreds and he's absolutely physically in top condition and he's a unit and he's brilliant and I love him and he's one of my favourite Liverpool players ever. Of course, I think they should just give him the money. But that's not what the club do. It's not what the club do.
Do you think Mo Salah is actually asking for... this is totally off topic because this is not FPL related. But is he actually asking for, like, masses more? Or does he just want an offer?
He's just trying to negotiate for more money, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's fine. Yeah. I mean, we all want to negotiate for more money. I'll go and ask Chris for more money. But
I think he wants to stay. Every time he gets asked about it, there's a little cheeky smile and he wants to stay. He's just trying to get as much out of them as possible.
Sitting on the wall next next to the fans. Like, he loves it there.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
Exactly.
But listen, he's if you haven't got him in FPL, you just have to get him. If you haven't got him yet, he must be hurting your rank week in, week out, double-digit hauls.
Well, he's a route to pain.
He is a massive pain, I would suggest. Yeah, a massive pain. So, yeah, you got to have him, I think. The question mark for me is, I've only got him.
Me too.
And Liverpool are starting to look like not starting to. They are a team that I'm starting to think with my team, with my FPL team, why have I not got 3 of them?
But it's been, to be fair to you and to me and to everyone else who's just got Salah, it's actually quite hard to own 3
It's
Liverpool.
hard to know where to go. That's exactly right.
Because Luis Diaz, I adore that man. I think he's wonderful. I think he's a fabulous player. I wish he played for Spurs. Sometimes he starts, sometimes he doesn't. Gakpo's been starting, sometimes he doesn't. Darwin's there and just being Darwin, not going there.
That was a telltale sign today. Notice that? Another thing I love about Arne Slot, I've got my finger out now for those on the podcast, I'm pointing at you. That's how much I'm passionate about Arne Slot and how well Arne Slot knows these players already. Yeah, Darwin got a start in the team a few weeks ago, and for 2 weeks, I think I said to you, I think I sat here and I was like, he's a new man, Darwin.
No,
he's a new player.
He's not, Lee.
And then the week after, no, he's back to being crap, and he's back to being walking around and back to being lazy. In a big game like today, huge game like today, who does he trust?
Well, not Darwin. No one trusts Darwin.
Gakpo, Diaz, and Mo.
And Jota would be trusted if he was
Jota
available.
would be in there also, correct.
But that's the problem, isn't it? Is that soon we're going to have Jota back. That adds another layer of complication there. At the back, it's been difficult because Robbo Simicast has been a thing. Who plays? On the other side...
Simicast was pictured with a boot on today, so it's going to be Robbo, right?
So it's going to be Robbo, so that's less of a factor. On the other side of the pitch, the Connor Bradley-Trent thing's been there. Now, Connor Bradley's out, so Trent's going to be the one. So,
how good was Trent today?
Well, he was, but Lee, in FPL...
My God.
But in FPL, are you really going to spend 7?
Maybe, if he plays like that again.
Take your red goggles off. Are you really going to pay 7 when you could pay 6 for Van Dijk?
No, I don't know. Van Dijk could have had a hat-trick today.
Well, he could, but that's my point, is that you're not going to pay 7 for Trent when you can pay 6 for Van Dijk. I'm sorry, you're just not.
Heather's saying he's 6.9 now. If that's all right.
All right. You're not going to pay 6.9 for Trent when you can pay 6 for Van Dijk. I'm sorry, you're just not. Now...
Oh, are you not?
No, Lee.
Oh,
all right, you go and do that. I'd far rather have Van Dijk.
Trent being back today and he's spraying those passes around, and I'm just like, oh, get
you're
back in my team.
No, you're about to be lulled back into the same... We've been there for 12 weeks.
Well, you go Gomez then if you want to go super cheap.
Well,
Konate's not back for a bit.
So Konate's out for a fair few weeks, so that's an option. Kelleher, knight him. What the hell? He is the best understudy goalkeeper I've ever seen. And, right, I'm going to say something really controversial now.
Wow, sound like you.
I think he should keep the first shirt, even when Alisson's back. I think you make Alisson work for it.
Mad.
Tell Alisson, I'm sorry, but this kid has been unbelievable. You see him saving penalties. He's unbelievable. Make Alisson work for the shirt. Don't just give it back to him. Anyway, that's my rant over.
Sure, I mean, best goalkeeper in the league and has been in the world for the last sort of 4 or 5 years. But yeah, sure.
But the point is, after all of that...
Who do you have in FPL?
That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, all of that means how do you invest 3 times?
I'll tell you who I will be getting when he's back fit.
Who?
Ballon d'Or.
Oh,
he'll be coming straight back in.
Because Kulu's winning the Ballon d'Or.
I will be getting Jota as soon as he's back and ready. There's a couple of you who have been in the live chat saying, Lee, which defender?
Van Dijk.
I don't know, you know. If you've got $500,000 knocking about,
no one has.
I would have Trent over Virgil still.
It's 0.9, it's not $500,000.
It's not. Trent,
that's true.
Trent is 6'9" and Virgil's 6'4".
That's true.
$500,000, right? If you're being super cheap, Gomez is fine. I don't see Kwanzaa getting in that team. I don't, to be honest with you. And Gomez was good today, by the way.
Okay.
What?
So go on, tell me. So you're going to go Jota when he's fit?
All players fit. Salah, Jota, Trent.
Okay.
And I'm by no means biased.
Oh, you are funny.
So biased. Anyway, we're top of the league. It's looking unbelievably good. We've got a horrible fixture away in Newcastle in the week. We've got a horrible fixture against Everton
So you just trying to
next weekend. So come and see me this time next week.
Listen.
And I will tell you whether we're going to win the league.
Can I just say something publicly right now?
What? And
it's going to be... I'm glad that Spurs aren't playing till Sunday because we've got a lovely day out on Saturday.
Yes.
Please don't, Liverpool. This is for you, not Lee. Don't ruin our day. Go and win the derby because I can't have Grumpy Lee. So go and win the derby. Go and have a 3 points clear at the top, and then we can go out and have a lovely day.
Right.
Thanks, Liverpool.
Let's move on. Liverpool, champions elect. We shall see. We shall see.
Win the Champions League as well?
Sam, another bonkers game. Wolves 2, Bournemouth 4. 6 goals. But you're all right because you had Strand Larson. So you got a couple of...
Shut up, you absolute deviant.
Nothing for Cunha. 2 goals for Strand Larson. What the hell? Sat here last week and I went, you're mad having Strand Larson. Cunha's the one. He's elite. He's scoring Bergkamp-style goals. His confidence is through the roof. He's so good. Got a naff all here, didn't he? Strand Larson, 2 goals, and you've sold him for Pedro. Unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Do you know? You don't know because you weren't with me. How I actually think I did quite well yesterday because I was deeply unhappy yesterday. No, seriously.
Deeply unhappy.
Right. Seriously, my FPL team was so in the mud by the end of yesterday.
Deeply unhappy.
Lee.
It's just FPL. Relax.
Oh, FPL, I've got to be honest, it affects me massively, as you know, because you live with me.
I do know.
And yesterday was the worst day of my FPL season to date.
It was bad, wasn't it? It was bad for all of us mostly, right? Unless you got Strand Larson.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, Cliver owners are enjoying it.
I didn't have Saka.
Yeah.
I didn't have Gabriel.
Yeah.
I'd sold Strand Larson for Jab Pedro, who did F all. I had 8 Nori, who I played ahead of Lewis Hall, who for most of the game Lewis Hall was keeping a flipping clean sheet, and 8 Nori got a grand total of, that's right, 0. I lost my Raya and my Timber clean sheet. Everything
went wrong.
Was
an
S show. And I got to the...
Who's calling you?
Who the hell is calling? Who the hell is calling me on Skype?
Strand Larson. He's always
Strand Larson. He's raging. I sold him.
Why just sell me, Sam?
Strand Larson's calling. And Strand Larson single-handedly tried to ruin my day, and I could not. The thing is,
it was tough to take, wasn't it? It was tough to take.
It was annoying, but also I'm still sort of all right with it because the thing is that Strand Larson has been a frustration to own. And all right, he gets the 2 goals today, but I still think Cunha is a better buy. I still think what you said is right last week. I still think if you got a straight choice, Cunha is the right pick. But honestly, thank God for what happened today because yesterday...
Difficult, wasn't it?
I'm not sure I'd have turned up here. If Spurs draw into Fulham, if we'd have had to a live stream last night, I'm not sure I'd have been here. I'd have been sick.
We've all talked about the Wolves fixtures going forward. So if you've got Strand Larson, if you've got Cunha, even if you've got Ryan Ait-Nouri, don't worry. Just hold them. It's fine. Because you've got Everton up next, West Ham, and then Ipswich, Leicester. It looks pretty good still for the foreseeable. But talk to me about Bournemouth. Because I thought Bournemouth were fantastic in this game. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know what Sarr was smoking in this game. There were so many individual errors from Wolves players, including the goalkeeper. It was actually quite funny. 3 penalties. Kluivert must have thought, and I don't think that's... Is it the first time it's ever happened? Or
it's the first time a player scored 3 penalties in a Premier League game.
And didn't Evan Nilsson get fouled for them all?
It's the first time a Premier League player has been fouled to win 3 penalties in a game.
And they've all been scored by the same... I mean, this you talk about... Like, if you've got Evan Nilsson or Kluivert, well done. But that's not happening much. I mean, it's never happening again, is it? That's absolutely
ridiculous. It's never happening again, and I don't think Kluivert is on the table. I don't think Kluivert's ever been on the table. I think this is just one of those moments where you're like, okay, great, well done.
Yes. But I do want to talk about Bournemouth. It's Spurs up next at home, as we said. Then Ipswich, West Ham, Man United, Crystal Palace. We're all talking about Mbeumo replacements.
I still don't think you'd go Kluivert, but you can go Evan Nilsson was where I was going before you started going, but fixtures.
Yeah, you could do, I suppose, yeah. But there's so many good forwards. Why would you go to Evan Nilsson?
There's so many... How many forwards you got?
Well, Cunha and João Pedro for a start. And now I've got Watkins for the 2 nice home fixtures. We're just saying Solanke's not a priority sell.
Nico Jackson.
People want Jackson.
I've got Wood.
You've got Wood. Stop it. Bloody Wood.
I can't make myself laugh because I've got a cough.
You've got a cough. Evan Nilsson is a terrible shout. I don't know why you've said that.
It's not a terrible shout.
What I thought you were going to say was you're not going to go for Cliver, but you could go for Semenyo.
What?
Talk to me about Semenyo. He's got the suspension out the way.
Yeah.
So he's had a nice rest in this game. With these fixtures coming up, everyone's looking for Mbeumo replacements. I have got an eye on Semenyo, I have to say.
2 seconds, because I just want to go back to you just absolutely dissing my Evan Nilsson point. Right. Since game week 6...
Everyone wants Strand Larsen.
Shut up. Since game week 6, 9 points, 2 points, 5 points, 8 points, 7 points, 8 points, 2 points, 12 points. He has been super, super consistent.
You getting him?
I was thinking about it, yes. You can... What's wrong with you? Just because you're top of the league... Talk about Strand Larsen, getting him to phone me up midstream. You.
I don't think anyone's getting Evan Nilsson.
I don't want to go Semenyo, no. The only thing I'd consider, the only reason I'd consider Semenyo...
Why not? That's another classic Sam, that is. You've just dismissed him. I'm not going Semenyo. Why?
Well, not yet. Because we've got to play my boys next, and, we are peak Barcelona. No, I'm joking. Because I've got... The thing is, Lee, I do think that I've got bigger issues to fry.
Bigger issues to fry?
Yeah.
You either have fish to fry or you have bigger issues. You don't have issues to fry. What are you talking about?
Please stop making me laugh because I'm coughing. I've run out of drink now because I've drunk a whole can of
I blame Strand Larsen for this.
What? Because he's trying to phone me up?
This is a disgrace. You've got bigger issues to fry. Brilliant.
Yes,
Anything else you're frying? It's like KFC in here tonight.
Potentially Strand Larsen at the end of this. No, because I think eventually... I'm probably going to swap out Morgan Rogers.
Sam's been on the booze tonight, I think Sean says. You're probably right, Sean.
I've done a lot of driving this weekend. I've had enough of that.
That got to do
I think I'm really quite tired. I've got to get up at 7. I've got to get up at 6 to do a podcast in the morning. Where was I going? Semenyo.
That you just discarded him without no fact or reasoning. Go on.
No. Eventually, you have just spent the last... however long we've been doing this, talking about how you can't sell Ollie Watkins for the next 2 weeks. Realistically, if you're going to go Semenyo, unless you're going to go down from Mbeumo, and I don't think many would, because I think most people that are coming down...
Why not?
Because I think most people that are coming down... Mbeumo's not most people's 5th midfielder. He's most people's 4th, potentially their 3rd. If you're going to replace him... Stop it. You're probably going to...
Andrew Jesus in the chat.
You're probably... What's he saying?
Bigger issues to fry, lol. That's a classic.
It's like you... No, look, he's putting in the slack as well. It's come up on my watch. Andrew, for most people with if you've got Mbeumo in that, like, I'm looking to go up from him to Saka. You're talking about going to Ødegaard. Most people, I think, are looking at somebody in that mid-price bracket. I think for a lot of people... It would be Rodgers that would be going for Semenyo. And, as you've quite rightly said, I don't think that's a priority for the next 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, then I think that change is maybe more of a priority. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a terrible pick. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I don't understand your logic one bit there. If you were maniacally focused on team structure and having... the big 3 and then a mid-price midfielder and then your 5th midfielder, a cheapie...
No, because...
And you wanted to hold your structure, I'd understand that. But why can you keep Rodgers and just then bring him over to Semenyo?
Because most people...
Put a few quid in your pocket and get Trent.
Okay, so it's a choice between Semenyo and Ødegaard.
It's more difficult than it's more difficult. It's not... You've said that as if Ødegaard's an easy pick. It's not at all. Not at all.
I think it's very easy of those two.
What, Ødegaard over Semenyo?
Yeah.
I'd have 20 quid of you now that over those next 5 fixtures, Semenyo outscores Ødegaard. It's probably the transfer I'm going to be doing this week. Mbeumo to Semenyo. Probably.
I can't wait for Ødegaard to outscore him over the next 5 weeks. We'll revisit this in 5 weeks' time.
But I might...
No, you're committed now.
It's Mbeumo It's in Bournemouth to Semenyo, but I have got bigger issues to fry.
No, you wait. Ødegaard's going to be on the phone with you in a minute. Your phone's going to go and you'll get a Skype call from Ødegaard.
Oh, God.
Who the hell's calling him on Skype?
Bournemouth, who still uses Skype? Bournemouth good. Look at both teams. What else to discuss, Sam? Goodness me, this gone so off track, isn't it?
What What team? What are we talking about?
I don't even know anymore.
What game?
Well, we could do a little bit of Amorim's first game, 4-0 against Everton at home. Everton bad, Man United good.
Didn't see any of it though. Lee.
Rashford 2, Xerxes good, and actually Amorim bigging up Xerxes a little bit before the game, saying he'd seen something about him in training and he started to look good and all the rest of it.
Boyland, I think.
Yeah, and so it's proved he popped up with 2 goals. But I do want to give a shout out to Ahmad. I thought every time I watch him, he just gets better and better, this kid. He looks so good. And there's a couple of the goals, if you watch the highlights, if you haven't seen the Manchester United goals, you know, okay, 2 assists. But let me tell you, even for the other 2 goals, he's harrowing, he's pressing, he's kind of setting the tone. Okay, in FPL, he's listed as a midfielder and he's sort of playing reverse. He's sort of playing reverse out of position because he's officially a wing-back.
Yeah.
But in this Amorim system, those wing-backs, like Dalot and he, are getting forward like you wouldn't believe. I think Ahmad is a lovely little pick.
I mean, yeah, sort of with the positioning, but actually he's a midfielder who's kind of playing in. I mean, I know he's a wing back, but he sort of is playing in that midfield role, right? So it's fine, and he's getting the attacking return, so it's fine.
He was great today.
I didn't see any of this game.
4.9, the guys are saying. I knew he was cheap.
He's 4.9. So he's another one. Like you can categorise in that sort of Semenyo / Rogers / anyone else you want to fancy bracket.
Depends how many issues you got throwing.
I got loads of issues to fry. Wood's not one of them. But what I would say is that, you know, they've
difficult fixtures next 3.
Well, would you say
you're not bringing him in ahead of Arsenal?
You're not bringing him ahead of Arsenal, no.
Forest at home, City, Bournemouth at home, Wolves, Newcastle.
I mean,
maybe.
The derby's interesting, Lee.
Isn't it? I tell you what, it is, because United, the way they're playing.
Yeah, the derby's interesting.
And the way City are playing.
I'm intrigued. I
don't mind it.
Yeah.
Man United going to the Etihad. Poof. If they get a cup, I'm not going to do any United in ahead of Arsenal.
I got 2.
Anything you're going to do about that, or are you going to hold?
I hold.
I think you should hold, yeah. You could bench Dalot this week, can't you? I'd be benching Dalot this week.
Yeah, but who am I going to play?
All right, we'll do teams in a minute. Let's rattle through the rest of these games, Sam. Everton are just a hard avoid by the sound. If you've still got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, stop playing FPL, quite frankly.
Didn't even start, did he?
I don't know if he started.
I think he started Beto.
One header that I think Anana say towards the end, but I think you're probably right.
I think he started Beto.
Anything else to discuss? I don't even want to talk about the Newcastle clean sheet going in the last minute to Palace. Oh, God, horrible. I don't even want to talk about Chris Wood, 1-0 to Ipswich.
Way!
Oh, God.
Love you, Chris Wood.
He got... Right, let's just quickly do that. I watched the highlights of this game. I think he's been found out, Chris Wood. He's a complete fraud. I'm not getting him in FPL. Yes, he's going to get the odd penalty. I didn't think it was a penalty either. And he gets bonus points whenever he scores because he literally does nothing else all game. So as long as he gets his penalty on target and they win 1-0, he'll get the bonus points. But not going anywhere near Chris Wood. He's been found out and he's very easy to defend against now.
You're right, dear. That was a bit of a rant.
You keeping him?
He's on the bench.
Okay.
I'm playing Rogers this week.
Good.
I bought him to rotate, remember? But I might sell him for Nico Jackson.
Nico Jackson from Chris Wood. All right. That's enough about the game, Sam. Let's get on to our teams in just a second. But I do just want to give a quick shout out to Bridge Bodie FC. So Bridge Bodie FC, congratulations, sir or madam. You are the lucky winner of the game week. What are we on? Game week 13? Game week 13 Sleeper PickEm, FPL Family PickEm League. 9 correct answers out of 10. Very good.
What did you get wrong?
Very good.
I can tell, actually.
You could probably work it out. I don't know. I think you might have got the Brighton one wrong, actually. The very first game. I think you might have called that a Brighton win, as many of us did. And actually, they were a bit lucky to get the draw in the end, I thought. But 9 out of 10 means that he or she was above FPL Baltic, Mark Bickley, LL Cooljohn, Nate W, and Christian, who all got 8. So well played to all of you. Very, very good to get 8 out of 10 correct scores. But 9 is the win, and you will get Bridge Bodie FC $100 worth of gift vouchers for Amazon or a shop of your choice. We'll be in touch about where you would like your vouchers for. And if you want to take part in this is something we do every week, guys. Go and download the Sleeper app. You can go to your Google Play Store, you can go to the iOS store, just search for Sleeper, and you will find the Sleeper app. As you know, there are a lot of other FPL content creators that are partnered with Sleeper this year. They're making a bit of a splash in the UK market. They're big into American fantasy sports, and they're now getting big into FPL in the UK as well. And they are sponsoring our stream and our Manager of the Month competition over on Patreon as well this year. So you go and download the app. It's completely free. There's no signing up to anything. There's no kind of betting, and there's no crypto or any of this nonsense, right? It's just get in, download the app, predict the scores. You haven't even got to predict the scores, actually. You've got to predict the outcomes of games, right? So just win, lose, or draw.
It's easy.
And Bridge Bodie FC got 9 out of 10 correct guesses of outcomes, and he or she is going to win $100 worth of Amazon vouchers. It's as easy as that, guys. Easy as that. No purchase necessary, none of that nonsense. Download the app, guess the outcomes, win $100. And we do it every single week, and we'll announce the winners here on the FPL Family live stream. So congratulations to Bridge Bodie FC, our Sleeper PickEm winner of the week. Congratulations.
Right.
Very good
Brighton
indeed.
Game they got wrong.
Very good
Everything else
indeed.
right.
Yes. So
well done. Very impressive.
good. Very good indeed. Speaking of good, Sam, let's talk about your team. A nice green arrow this week. Very good indeed. Up 6%. So 73. Talk us through it.
Thank the Lord. Because genuinely,
It wasn't looking like that yesterday, I can tell you.
I had 16 yesterday. 16 points. And 9 of them came from Chris Wood.
Yeah.
It was a disaster. And today I woke up and I thought, there's hope. And there's hope in the shape of Cole Palmer, Bruno Fernandes, Dominic Solanke, and captained, obviously, Mo Salah and Dalot at the back. And so, when the team sheet for Spurs landed and Dom Solanke wasn't there, well, you'll see if you see my Insta stories, I am not happy.
Because you knew you were getting whole at that stage. It wasn't like you had somebody coming off the bench who was about to play.
And annoyingly, I kind of celebrated the Crystal Palace goal yesterday.
Kind of.
A lot. Because
Yeah.
I benched him and I played Ait Nori, and I was so peed that I'd played Ait Nori, was getting naught, and Lewis Hall was sat there with 6, that I was like, when that went in, honestly, I was relieved. I'll be honest, I was so relieved because I was
Palace
like,
goal.
the Palace goal.
Yeah, you did celebrate it.
I did.
I was there at the time as well.
No, you weren't. You were outside with Evie. I was getting a drink, and I
played Lewis Hall.
was very pleased about it because it was a relief that I hadn't done something, because everything else had gone so wrong that him.
So a bit of karma there. Nice 2 points off the bench.
You are such a prat. Yeah, so he got 2 points off the bench. But today's performers, the ones that actually played today, not Dom Solanke, get well soon, Dom, for Thursday, please, actually did me really well. Obviously, Bruno and Cole Palmer and Salah, excellent. The 3 of them, that's why you pay for them, right? And Dalot chipping in with a clean sheet as well. Finally.
Yeah.
After the weeks of promise I've had from him, where he gets subbed on this, and I know that Amorim did sub De Ligt and
Mazraoui. Yeah, he's popular,
before.
Mazraoui.
Yeah, and he subbed them just before the 60-minute mark, so was delighted to see.
He obviously doesn't play FPL.
No, and you know, I'm sort of fine with Dalot. I'm not loving the fixture against Arsenal, but equally I'd have to play Sepp van der Berg, I think, or Lewis Hall against Liverpool. Maybe I could play Lewis Hall against Liverpool. Doesn't sound great though, does it? But yeah, I'll work out what I do with the defenders. But actually, to be honest, I'm flipping thrilled. Because to get a green arrow from where I was yesterday, with no Saka...
Take it.
And no Gabriel, I'm taking that green arrow and I'm running as fast as I can into Tuesday's deadline.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Particularly with no Saka, who was the highest scorer of the game week.
And Gabriel.
What are your thoughts ahead of Tuesday in terms of transfers? You touched on it briefly. But you have got a lot of issues to fry. So what are you going to do? Come on.
Guys.
Let us know.
Guys.
That's just a great one, isn't it? I keep using that.
I am... What am I doing? I'm going to almost certainly, unless I watch Match of the Day and Amorim says Bruno Fernandes has broken his foot and he's out for the rest of the week, I'm going to do Mbomo to Saka because enough roots to pain. Just do it.
Yeah.
And then that midfield, I mean, that's a Lee, isn't it?
So Mbomo to Saka. So you're going to have Saka, Salah, Palmer and Bruno.
Yeah.
Oof,
It's a bit dreamy, isn't it?
I like it.
Yeah,
I like
I know.
that a lot.
It's the stuff of dreams, Lee.
So where's the sacrifice then? Like, I suppose you've got no Gabriel at the back, but
The
you've got
forward
Timber
line's a
sitting
bit
there.
cheap.
A little bit cheap in the... Yeah, I suppose so.
The forward line's a little bit cheap. But I also might take a -4.
Ooh, okay, go on then.
Because I might... Oh, I hate myself. I might sell Solanke
for
Nico Jackson. Ahead of playing Spurs and Chelsea playing each other next weekend.
Oh! Solanke for Jackson.
I hate it.
Ah,
But I don't want to do it.
that is Spursy.
But I don't want to do it if Solanke's fit to play Bournemouth.
You don't want to do it full stop, do you? Come on.
I hate myself,
Come
Lee.
on, you don't want to. Never mind if he's fit or not. You don't want to do that. Solanke to Jackson,
Really?
Spurs player out. You'd have no Spurs in your team. You have double Chelsea.
Yeah, but...
Oh god, here we go. But I am bringing in Sarr.
What?
Go
No, but eventually I might go... I quite like the idea of going from Morgan Rogers to Brennan Johnson instead. And then reinvesting in Spurs. But I do...
Your midfield's going to be just elite.
It's elite. It is elite. Or I might just do Wood to Cunha.
Dan the man's in the chat. He says Jackson's going up tonight. Sam, you doing it tonight?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not doing it tonight. I'm going to do... Look, it's painful. The thought of selling a Spurs player is painful.
Yeah,
and I want to know
rip the
if Dom
Band-Aid off
Solanke's
then.
got over his runny nose before I do anything with him.
All right, well, 73 points is very good indeed. Overall rank, you are bang on 1 million, by the way. You're like 1 million and like 36 or something. It's like,
0.107, I think.
yeah, you're like just a smidgen over 1 million. So it's very unlucky not to be a K there rather than an M. But
If Lewis Hall had kept his clean sheet...
well, you didn't want it, Sam, because you cheered for Crystal Palace goal, so you can take the Lewis Hall 2-pointer and shove it. Right, overall rank change.
Please stop making me laugh.
You celebrated that Crystal Palace goal
With a peach
knowing-
iced tea and a chocolate.
knowing that I had Lewis Hall in my team, so you can get stuffed. Right, overall rank change of +6%. Very good.
I
indeed.
actually didn't know you played Lewis Hall, let's be clear.
Right.
I came up and I said,
Oh, did you play Lewis? Did you?
that's what
Oh,
happened.
did you? Did you play Hall?
You said,
Oh,
do
did
you know the Newcastle clean sheet's gone? And I said, yes, but I'm fine with that because I'd benched him anyway.
And you went,
And you went,
play him?
and I said, did you play him? And you said yes. And I was like, oh. And then I found it funny.
Yeah, exactly. Karma, as Dan says in the chat.
Well.
Right, anyway, enough of that. 79 for me. Happy with that. Very, very good. Overall points, 803. Had a very good last sort of 7 or 8 days in FPL with the Mo triple cap last week. Was very good. And a good week this week. Reducing the paths to pain.
Yep.
We sat here a few weeks ago and I said, I've got Haaland and I have not got Palmer, Saka or Salah. And the three of them are hurting me every week. That has been a big season change. It's been a big season change. A few weeks back, I decided I've got to sell Haaland, knowing that at some stage he's going to deliver pain. He will. It's coming. When it comes, don't be surprised, anyone. He will cause pain. But having them three in there means that they're not killing me. And I've not got them 3 routes to pain. I've only got 1 to worry about, not 3.
Yeah, and the other thing is
It's
that
big.
one thing I will say about this weekend, and my team this weekend is a good example of this, is that Saka hurt, but then the other 3 returned. And so I got a green arrow, even though Saka was the highest scoring player in the game week and I didn't have him. And that's the key, I think, is that if you have just Salah and Haaland, every week the chances are you are going to be stung by another premium. This week you escape it again because it's Haaland and he doesn't do anything. At some point he will hurt, but as long as you've got the others performing, you'll be okay.
Yeah. So, up 19%, overranked 448k.
19%, that's lovely, Green.
It's good, yeah. I mean, the Arsenal game was a mum, wasn't it? I've got, two of them 5 goals were Saka and Gabriel
Horrible.
combining.
It was
I mean,
horrible.
perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Disgusting.
And then Mo comes in with the captaincy. Palmer does well. But my team this week is very much a get what you pay for team because look outside of the premiums. Absolutely nothing. Flecken gets the 2. Shock horror.
Regressed to
Hall
me.
with the 2 that you celebrated. And Bremo with the 2 and now I want to sell him. Cunha 2, but okay. Watkins 2, but massively underachieved his XG. João Pedro disappointing with a 2 as well. And then even in my bench, there's nothing there to come on, right? 2s and 1s and 0s. So you get what you pay for in Team Lee this week. Palmer, Saka and Salah, very good. Gabriel, very good. Outside of that, not a lot to cheer about. In terms of transfers for next week, for Tuesday, I'm either going to do Mbeumo to Semenyo or I'm going to leave it.
What happened to Ødegaard?
I'm just going to leave it, I think.
I'm so confused. Did you not tell me earlier on in this podcast that you were thinking about doing Mbeumo?
Yeah, it doesn't mean I've got to do it now, does it? I might do that in a couple of weeks. I think there's another mini fixture. Look at these fixtures. Another mini fixture swing coming in 16, right? So look at Arsenal's next couple of fixtures. Man United, I'd back Arsenal, but United playing well, new manager bounce, etc., etc. Away at Fulham, again, back Arsenal, but difficult looking game, potentially.
They'll win that easily.
But then, Everton, Palace, Ipswich, Brentford, right? That's when I'm going to triple up on Arsenal, so 16. Okay. Then I look at Chelsea. Southampton away, yes, Palmer, and I'd like more, for sure. But it is what it is. Spurs away in 15, difficult game. But then from 16, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich. So look, 16 is another mini swing. Another mini swing. And I would like as many transfers as possible going into that 16. So, yeah, for sure. I mean, look at Bournemouth as well. We've mentioned Semenyo there, right? Spurs and Ipswich up next. Ipswich away is a difficult fixture. And then West Ham at home at 16. Man United away is difficult. But then Palace at home. Fulham away. So, I'm not going to rush into anything this week, I don't think.
That's fair enough.
I think
you don't have to. It's okay.
Mbeumo, even, Aston Villa away, if I look at my team, that's probably where I've got to make the decisions for this week. Because I've got Rodgers, Watkins and Mbeumo.
And Flecken.
Oh God, yeah, and Flecken. So what do I think is the outcome of that game? I've got to play Flecken because I've only got Vladimirson on the bench.
I might play Fabianski. Am I weird to do that?
But what am I going to do? I'm almost certainly going to play Watkins. It's going to be, do I play Rodgers or do I play Mbeumo? What do I fancy happening in that game?
The home fixture.
I think so, but do I back Villa enough to go double Villa attack? Given that Mbeumo is still a talisman, he's still on pens.
We think.
He'll be on pens, etc. So that's probably my decision. But if I'm making decisions like that, and I'm having to bench either Rodgers or Mbeumo, I don't need to make a transfer, do I?
Oh, no, you don't
I can let it ride. I can let that ride.
And you definitely don't need Semenyo against Spurs because, elite.
No, for sure. So... you guys in the chat saying Mbeumo, but one of them's George. No, actually both George. 3 times it's George.
What's George going on about? See, this is why he's got himself a reputation in the Slackley.
Well, no, what's he just saying the word? Sam? He's a Brentford.
What's he just saying Mbeumo all the time?
Well, I'm saying, do I play Rodgers or Mbeumo? And he's saying Mbeumo, which is fair enough. He's a Brentford fan.
Yeah, that is fair enough, to be fair.
You get stop digging George out. What's going on?
I just, it was so funny, honestly. It was when I turned up in the middle of a chat and he was like, Sam, help me. And I was like, what am I helping with?
So that's what I'm thinking. But anyway, my crusade towards 250k, which is what I'm trying to get to before the turn of the year, is on. It's well and truly on. Captaincy for next week. Did I ask you? I don't think I did. Captaincy for Tuesday. What are you thinking?
Probably Salah. I am really enjoying captaining Salah. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, same.
I'm really oh no, I've lied. I have absolutely lied. Because there's absolutely no chance that I'm not captaining Palmer at Southampton with no dibbling and no downs.
Well, that's why I took a little bit of an intake of breath when you said Salah, because I've got it on Palmer.
I just forgot I had Palmer for a minute.
I've busted on Palmer. I just think they're all over the place anyway. But without a couple of other key injuries, it's going to be a challenge for them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'll go Palmer.
Yeah, and I think despite not being mega involved tonight, Palmer still got a cracker of a goal, didn't he? And he gets the assist for Enzo. And Chelsea are cooking. As I said at the top of the pod, they are cooking, no doubt about it. Thank you, Jaden, for the super chat. Jaden's coming in with a super chat right at the end of the stream. Love the content from New Zealand. Thanks for tuning in, Jaden, from New Zealand. On a shocking, on a shocking 3 million rank. Jaden, there's loads of time yet, mate. Do not worry about it.
Space.
Top 100k is the target. Chances, mate. Listen, every chance, absolutely every chance.
Definitely.
What I will say is, and this is a bit more of a broader comment, I do feel for the first time this season, a mini template is starting to form.
Do you?
Yeah, I feel like them 3 in midfield, Salah, Saka, Palmer.
Okay, but I think that's it.
I think Gabriel's in it.
Do you? I think an Arsenal defender's in it.
And I think João Pedro and Cunha probably in it.
Okay, I'll sort of go with that.
I think there's just
I think one of them is in it.
I think compared to what we've seen so far this season, if not a template, then there's maybe a
spine.
popular spine starting to come. Yeah, starting to come.
I think there's a popular spine. I think we could say that. Yeah.
So I think to your question, Jaden, mate, every chance, because those three in particular are all going to be good captaincy options in any given week, and where you pick your captain is going to be quite key. I think 92k Jaden was last year. Mate, you're obviously a good manager, so don't worry about it.
I think the other thing is that you're actually a really good example of how
me or Jaden
right. Of how things can change quite quickly just with the right decision. So getting on, I know that it was a triple captaincy thing, but that decision to do it that week and it going well halved your rank last week.
Yeah.
And now the decision to move early on, releasing Haaland and going elsewhere is starting to pay dividends. And so I think sometimes you might be at 3 million and then you might find within 2 or 3 game weeks, because everything is still quite congested and the points are really tight.
Do you think it is?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that congested.
I
think it's starting to spread out.
Maybe, but as an example of this, I was obviously getting the pod script ready. I don't want to change that for tomorrow because we're recording the FPL pod. I'll tell you about this in a minute when we get to what are our plans for the week. And I was looking at the difference between where I am and then where, just for example, say Jules or Kelly. So let's take Kelly because she's closer to me. So there is 50 points between Kelly and I. Mm-hmm. And that's 1.7 million places in rank.
Mm-hmm.
So those 50 points over a course of a 2-week period, 3-week period, this week alone with 2 game weeks in a week, if you happen to get the captaincy right twice and somebody else doesn't, you can wipe those 50 points out in a week. I don't think... I'm not saying, Jaden, that I think you're going to go in 2 weeks from where you are to first in the world. But I think you can go from where you are to inside the top million within a month relatively easily. If you get the
sort of agree. I think it's starting now, and we see it season in, season out. It's starting to stretch. I think it's starting to stretch, and it stretches like I want to say hockey stick, but that's not right. It's cumulative, right? So as the closer you get towards the top 100k, the harder it is then to rise and fall within that 100k.
Sure, but I think where you are at 3 million, that
you can make big changes.
You can
at 3
make
million,
big changes right now, and that's the point.
I think you can go from 3 million to 1 million with a couple of good changes, but then 1 million to half is difficult, and then half to 100k really difficult.
Yes.
100k to 50k very, very difficult.
Agreed, but I think within the next 4 weeks, by Christmas, you could go from over 3 million to 1 million.
Yeah. And set yourself a little target,
Jason. And then it's stages, isn't it? And it's like, okay, well now I get here and I get here and I get here. And I think if you look at it as I want to finish in the top 100k, that feels insurmountable right now. But if you chunk it and go, okay, but by Christmas I want to be here by this time, it's achievable then.
Yeah. Which is totally what I'm doing, right? By the end of the year, I'd like to be in the top 250k. If I'm not there, I'm not going to beat myself up. And if I'm there, I'm not going to celebrate. It's just a little target that I want to get to. And I thought to get there over the next few weeks, who do I want for those weeks? Well, I definitely want Palmer because I think those fixtures look unreal. I definitely want to get, at least 2 Arsenal. So I've locked that in. So just thinking, just up until that, play until there and just have like mini targets as you go along. But given, 4.48k as I am right now, I'm happy with that. Given that 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was at 1.4. All good. The triple captain made a big difference last week. It really did. And having Mo in the team has made a big difference as well. That's it for tonight, Sam. Tell the good people what is coming up this week, please.
Oh my God, it's chaos. It is chaos this week.
You must have two official pods this week, I would assume, because there's 2 deadlines, podcasts.
Right? So we're up bright and early in the morning to record the first official podcast of the week.
Very good.
The Game Week 13 preview. We'll be recording that from 7 a.m. in the morning. So that will hopefully be in your ears by lunchtime tomorrow. I'm also recording the Sky Sports News podcast tomorrow morning, so that'll be in your ears.
You're with Briggsy, are you?
Also, with Briggsy and James.
Very good.
So I'll see Kelly and Jules first to record that one. That'll be out probably by 12 o'clock. I'll be on with James and Mark just after that. I guess that will be out about the same time. Obviously, we'll share these across our socials as they are out. Then on Thursday morning, I'll be back with Jules and Kelly again to record, even though the game week will not have finished. We can't record it any later because of the Saturday morning deadline. Otherwise, there's no time for anyone to listen to it. So we'll be back again on Thursday with another podcast for you to listen to then to preview game week 15. And then you and I, my dearest, will be off to Sky on Saturday morning.
We're in
for
the
a little
studio,
Sky
are we?
Sports
Very
News
good.
schedule ahead of game week 15. So it's going to be a crazy busy week. Lots of podcasting, lots of content. And then we'll obviously be back here on Sunday evening alongside having recorded an Ohana for our patrons. You'll all be pleased to know we'll actually be able to record Ohana together.
Oh, be nice for you to be there.
I've missed the last couple.
Very good. Thank you guys for joining us for tonight's FPL family. Good luck on Tuesday for game week 14, and good luck for game week 15. 15 feels like the last few game weeks. They're coming.
They're quick now.
Just going quickly, aren't they?
Quick.
Going quickly. So game week 15 coming up next weekend. So we'll see you this time next week when we'll discuss how that week, those 2 game weeks have gone. Just want to leave on a super chat from Maliki, which I missed before. Thank you, super chat. Thank you, Maliki, for the super chat. Hailey and Sam, hope you both well. Salah saving my game week with his haul to get me to 60 points. Palmer getting the armband for game week 14. Obviously, I think, Maliki, that is a really apt point to end on, because I think Salah will have saved a lot of game weeks this week, and I do think Palmer is going to be very, very popular for captaincy come Tuesday. So thank you all for joining us, folks. Leave us a like before you go. Hit subscribe if you're new to the FPL family channel. Good luck this week, and we'll see you this time next Sunday when 2 game weeks will have passed. Anything could have happened. Game week ranks and overall ranks could be anywhere, guys. It could be anywhere. So good luck, and we'll see you then. Cheers.
Bye, guys.